Okay, I'm gonna talk about something that actually means a lot to me, and that is what I see for myself in terms of marriage or like long-term partnership or anything of the sort. Oh god, I have to shut my window. That's literally a wind storm going outside. Okay, yeah. But basically, oh fuck, oh my god. But what I see for myself, I don't see. Well, less so. I don't see marriage for myself. More so, I don't see having kids for myself. And the reason is that I feel like whenever you have a kid, you experience what it feels like to have your heart exist outside of yourself as well. So that's really scary in terms of the fact that so many things, like a lot of integral decisions to the well being of myself as a person and the dynamic of a future family, if I was to have one, is that whenever you care about someone so much that you are willing to sacrifice any or overextend any of your capacities and sacrifice anything necessary for their well-being, it puts you in a position that if the authoritative presences that exist in your life aren't acting in accordance with your needs and capacities, that you are continually making that sacrifice, which just leads to the type of parenting that people are trying to break away from. And I think that this is a really interesting thing about my generation, is that people are finally, I don't even want to say finally, because for everyone it's not that is the common thread. Um, but a lot of people are leaning out of the idea that a family gives you everything that it is that you need, and leaning into the idea that being received by other people and having a collective worldly impact and being able to leave your legacy on the world are the fundamental aspects of parenthood that are so fruitful for people. So I think something that I've really refocused for myself in terms of my future is that if my legacy isn't going to expand by beyond myself in like any biological means, like if I'm not passing down my genealogy, then what is it that I want to pass down? So I have this really cool idea, especially considering that right now I am taking a hiatus from college just because it's not financially feasible. And I do intend on being fully transparent about this with anyone that asks, because I think it is important to, yeah, I feel like financial transparency, other people's being financially transparent is what has allowed me to make knowledgeable financial decisions. Um, yeah, so I find it important to do the same, or at least just not be illegitimate about what page it is that I'm on for these things. So, yeah, but I've been trying to figure out, what academia would look like to me once I do officiate my discontinuation of education. And then I remembered something that I'm continually having to remind myself is that it's not my discontinuation of education, it's a discontinuation of institutional education. So there is nothing that says that I cannot continue to research and to bring information into community spaces and transpose it into something that is accessible so that people can have their wellness be convenient. A large barrier for wellness so consistently, like you'll meet everyone who's like, oh yeah, all of my joints are so fucked up and my stomach always hurts and my head always hurts and I could barely see right and XYZ. And I am working my way out of becoming one of those, or out of being one of those people. But the biggest barrier for me is the fact that it wasn't convenient to care about myself or how I felt. And something big that really helps validate how I feel about discontinuing my education right, or institutional education right now, is the fact that I finally have time to acknowledge that with school, at least with the relationship that I had with school, which, to summarize, I did very well, but at a very high cost of like my own sanity. I don't even want to, well, yeah, I can't even, once again, legitimacy is important. I had several moments in which, yeah, but long story short, um, what was I saying in the first place? Oh, what was I saying? Okay, so I was talking about institutional education, the projects that I want to do, but what was I talking about in connection? Oh, yeah. So, long story short, everything that I had wanted was on the other side of discomfort because that discomfort meant stepping out of convenience. And to step out of convenience, I had to restructure my life around opportunities that actually are in alignment with my capacity so that the spare time that I do have, I'm autonomous within instead of just being like so. I think just a very common thread for me was just continual exhaustion, which whenever I'm exhausted, I can do the things that I need to do, like check off the boxes that I need to, but I am barely human. So the times that I have to express my humanity by means of engaging with the people that I love, doing, engaging in community initiatives that I care about, showing up for the people that that are important to me, I had no ability to do those things. So it really added so much to my well-being to be able to aid to the world around me's collective well-being, because it reminds me of the importance of community, which was a really great tool because community is something that I was able to leverage more than I had before because I was in spaces where I was continually reminding myself, yeah, like how important these things are and that these resources are there if I need to use them. So I was aware of the resources that I needed whenever I needed them and of safe routes to be able to acquire them, which is a really exciting thing to feel like I wasn't so far away from the things that I needed to feel comfortable and to achieve the markers of success that I wanted to set for myself. So, long story short, I do intend on finishing or on, completing undergrad. But if that cannot happen on a timeline that I think is suitable for the person that I am and what I need out of myself, and in consideration of the financial capacity that I have. Oh, back to bring everything back. It's the fact that whenever you're under pressure, you make decisions that you can't stand by. And I have seen people in my life that, I have done that a lot. I have asked that a lot out of myself. And I've seen how certain instances of financial pressure or just pressure, period, result in me making snap decisions that are not sustainable for like long amounts of time. Like I remember the entirety of the summer prior to going to college, I was eating McDonald's like 2 times every day, which I don't mind. In terms of sustenance, I'm glad that I was getting something in my body. I'm glad that I was getting the caloric content that I needed. But my issue isn't with the food being fast food. It's the fact that all of the regulatory systems that are allowing for the production and just dietary mainstreaming of these companies is something that isn't these regulations aren't made in mind of consumers being people, but rather consumers being profitable. So it upsets me to know that I was putting so much into my body that will have and did end up having really horrible long-term effects because I didn't have the time to take time for myself and even just cook. And it also would have been cheaper. So I'm realizing that every time that I have ever been rushed, it has not been the rush-y that has benefited from it, but rather all of the things that compel me to feel rushed that are benefiting off of my responding with haste. So, yeah, I'm really glad. Long story short, I just feel like, um, yeah, I feel like I care a lot more about what impact I will be leaving on this world as just a goal rather than that being through the means of having kids. Because every time that I do bring up this topic with people, so much of the time it'll be, well, what do you want your legacy to be? My legacy is the love that I have shown people that allow them the autonomy to do better in their own life, and the love that I have shown myself that's allowed me to show up for my community, and the things that I do from the time that I prioritize what my learning process is, and I'm able to help other people through those things. Like, it was only after leaving school that I've tried things that I've never done before that I've been able to help other people with. Like, for example, I had always told myself that if I had enough just like physical space in a housing situation, that I would house, yeah, like anyone that I know and trust that may have issues with housing resources. And I was finally able to like actually put action behind words, yeah, and do that for people that I love and care about, which is such an exciting thing for me because it's like what I care about more than any conventional marker of success is honoring all of the things that I know to be important to the world around me. And not to say that I'll be a martyr for anything. I really do value my life, but also, but I really, or I don't mean my life in terms of like, yeah, that didn't come out the way that I wanted to, but more in the sense of like, I believe that I will honor my capacities every day with what I want out of myself in the world tomorrow. So, yeah, it just makes me excited to know that the changes that I have made have been things that I've been able to do through knowing that I deserve to take time with myself. So, I look forward to doing that for the rest of my life. It in the sole year that I have done it, I've epitomized my happiness in relative terms, but I have yet to epitomize my happiness for like the entirety of my lifetime. So I'm excited to keep doing that, and I really hope that that's something that I stick to because, yeah, it feels right and organic to care about myself. It feels right, and this is the first time that even though I don't really have a template to look to for how to navigate these situations because college is so mainstream, I'm like, I believe in my mind and I believe in my heart, and right now that is enough. That is enough. It is wildly confusing a lot of the time. A lot of the time. But that's why it's such a beautiful thing to be able to find solace in the people around me and also to be surrounded with so many people that are comfortable. Yeah. Um, yeah. Like deconstructing paradigms and whatnot. So it's exciting. Okay. But yeah, that's all.